Most cyber attacks make noise. The dangerous ones don't. Today we are talking about a real attack that stayed hidden, targeted, and most unexpected people inside companies and could have destroyed entire organization without a single warning. It's called Operation DupeHike. And once you understand how it works, you will look at every file in your inbox differently. My name is Farooq Khan, solution leader and trusted advisor, and this is the podcast 101 with Farooq Khan, where we decode real cyber incident with the people who actually investigate them. Today, we are joined by Sangamesh S, Vice President at Seqrite Research Lab, an enterprise arm of Quick Heal Technologies and India's largest malware analysis lab, along with a senior research expert, Subhajeet, from his APT team. These are the experts who detects attacks before the world even knows they happen.
Thanks, Farooq, for inviting us for this wonderful and information-rich podcast. And the topic that we had chosen is much more relevant for the current security threat landscape.
Thank you, Farooq, for having us. We're really glad to be here, and it will be a really great part presenting our POV on this important cyber attack, and really happy to present and share information whatever it's required and whatever is helping things to improve the entire cybersecurity posture. So yeah, thank you once again for having us.
Thank you. Let's start the podcast and decode. Let's start with the name Operation DupeHike. Sounds like something out of thriller. What does this name mean, and what was really happening behind the scenes?
So, Farooq, if you look at this Operation DupeHike, it actually self-explanatory. If you break down the DupeHike itself into two parts, dupe, which is actually the deception or deceiving in simple terms, and the hike is something that we actually call for elevation or escalation. So, relevant to the cybersecurity, where the end users were deceived by a legitimate file and also being the escalation of multi-stage attack. So that's what it means in putting it together as a Operation DupeHike. So this was actually a well-crafted, orchestrated, and advanced attack, which was exploiting both human psychology and also the technical controls. So that's something we call that as a advanced persistent threat, and it has been stealthy. It has been evading the security controls, and it is interesting to see the analysis.
If you had to explain it in one line, was it a normal virus or a plan or long-term targeted attack? Sangamesh.
So this was actually a planned, coordinated and long-term targeted attack, not a generic virus which has been spreading randomly across the internet. Why it is so? Because the traditional viruses are more opportunistic. It spreads indiscriminately, hoping to infect as many as systems as much as possible. Here in this case, it is very specifically targeting certain country and a certain set of individuals, deceiving them to open the malware to compromise the systems. So it is certainly an APT kind of a attack, but not a traditional virus.
Where in the world did this attack take place, and who exactly were the attackers trying to hit? Sangamesh.
So the attack was geographically focused on Russian Federation. Like if you look at, they were specifically targeting certain set of corporate employees within the Russian organizations. But most importantly, the attackers had a very specific departmental focus, which is human resources, payroll, and internal administrative teams. So this was not a random targeting. These departments are what we call as a high value targets because of the data that they have the hold and also the process. And they are, of course, like, not too much technical as like the other departments, right? So when you compromise an HR or a payroll system, you just don't get the employee data. You get access to the entire organizational infrastructure. So it could be in terms of the PII, SPI, PHI data in some form and shape. And in fact, like those are the high value targets, considering that like current data protection and privacy getting the momentum. So that's why we see like these uh, non-technical departments like HR and payroll were specifically being targeted as part of this Operation DupeHike campaign.
HR and payroll, not IT. Why would attackers pick those teams first? Subhajeet.
So, what we think, this is a very brilliant strategy choice by the attackers, and it reveals how they think tactically. Here are the reasons which we think that they targeted the HR and payroll system instead of targeting the IT sector. So, here are the few reasons which we think are: the first reason being crown jewels of corporate data. This HR and payroll systems, they handle a lot of sensitive PII, that is personal information data in the entire organization, such as bank account details, salary information, social security numbers, passport copy, ID documents, and much more. So if they are going to target or going against this HR and payroll sector, they are targeting a huge set of data. Second is the document heavy environment. As this HR sector deals with a lot of documents which as involved such as PII and lot of stuffs, in this case, that was the second reason they target the HR and payroll system. And the third and the most important part is gateway to critical infrastructure. HR systems often connect to other critical infrastructure, such as from an HR workstation, attackers can pivot to email servers, financial systems, cloud applications. So, this makes the attacker a perfect staging ground for lateral movement.
Seqrite is based in India. This attack hit Russia. How did your lab even notice something happening thousands of kilometers away? Subhajeet.
At Seqrite, we basically are powered by a lot of in-house technology, which focuses on not only on our exact geosphere, but we also focus on the entire global hemisphere, targeting and tracking threat actors from various spheres of the globe, such as APAC, Europe, America, Middle East, South America, and much more. In this case, our in-house expert team detected this threat from the hunting corpuses, which is basically a sandbox in layman terms. And initially, we went ahead from discovering the threat to initially triaging it, and then going ahead hunting and using pivotal intelligence to figure out lot of network correlations. And slowly we figured out that this target was basically pivoted towards Russian IT, HR and payroll system, as we know that there is lot of low security awareness in this hemisphere of the entire chain. That's why Seqrite believes that we should track and monitor threat events like this, which can be a part of major escalation going ahead. And it's our task to track, defend, and mitigate them. And that's how we discovered a threat in Russia that is way far from our base. And that's how we can also track and mitigate similar threat events.
In that case, a counter question: was it a pattern based threat, or it is something with your clients? How did you identify this APT pattern?
So, Farooq, if you look at like, our research is not bound with our own customer base. In fact, this is a classic example where this particular threat has not been identified in our customer base. Rather, we picked up from your public sourcing platform, which is a virus total, where we found this particular file, which is interesting, and it triggered us. Why don't we do a deep investigation around this? So that's where we picked up, as like the other threat research that we do, we picked up some of these suspicious files, did a thorough analysis in terms of demystifying the entire payload and understanding what it actually does in terms of uncovering the associated indicators of compromise, the tactics and techniques that have been used, and the target audience and the modus operandi of this particular campaign. So, to put it in a nutshell, this is not something that we have observed in our customer base. Rather, it is part of our global threat research that we have been doing forever.
What was the first tiny clue that told your team something was wrong? Subhajeet.
The first tiny clue which we thought was wrong and also intrigued us and did drove our curiosity against triaging and looking into this entire campaign chain was the first shortcut file which we saw on our hunting was basically mimicking a PDF icon. And that was the very first thing which we saw. And the second thing which we saw and did create a lot of interest in us, that was the PowerShell file which was downloaded by the shortcut file, which was mimicking the PDF icon, was running a lot of malicious and nefarious commands on the background, which was downloading further malware and other implants. So these were the few interesting, as well small, least caring, but to be cared about and to be looked into are some of the few tiny clues which we did check and which led us to the entire campaign.
For a non-technical viewer, how did the attackers trick the employee into opening the harmful file?
So, for non-technical viewers, that the first reason the threat actor targeted the HR and payroll system were their low security awareness. The reason they could not differentiate between the actual PDF and a malicious file looking or mimicking a PDF file. So the very first thing was the deception which the threat actor used to target this non-technical or HR and payroll system. So always we should care about that files, if the files are legitimate or not. And the second thing is, which all of us can be a victim in near future cases, and we should all take care about, are the nuisances of social engineering. So in this case, which we saw, that the PDF icon was being used to social engineer non-technical and HR and payroll people to download malicious implant and give access to the threat actor. So for non-technical viewers, clicking onto something which may look like a PDF or may look completely benign is dangerous and should be taken care of.
The moment that file was clicked, what silently started happening inside the computer?
So immediately as the malicious PDF file was clicked, it immediately started downloading the DupeRunner implant, which is a malware written in C++. And then DupeRunner just didn't sit quietly. It started popping or spawning the decoy onto victim machine, triggering or mimicking or just making them feel that they just clicked the right document. And after that, this DupeRunner implant downloaded something known as a font awesome.waf file. So regularly we don't see WAF files, which is basically a font file, but in this case, which we saw, that the WAF file contained the malicious shellcode of the Adaptic C2, which is basically a red team based project which is available openly on the web. And in this case, the threat actors abused this open source project to target and get a hold of the victim machine of the HR and payroll department for various organizations in Russia.
If this attack was not discovered, what was the absolute worst outcome?
As we have seen, 2025 has been a really chaotic year for a lot of cybersecurity events, starting from misconfigured keys and lot of misconfigurations, which has led to a lot of ransomware cases, and which have started from a simple HR department like the one in Uber and a lot of other cases. So similarly, in this case, which we see that there could be a lot of repercussions and multi-layered damage could be done to the organizations, such as data theft, financial damage, lateral movement to further infrastructure of the victim. Even the worst can be ransomware setup and things like competitive espionage, like, whatever data was being stolen, they could be sold on the dark web and the competitor could buy those and perform sort of blackmailing and a lot of other wrong things could happen. So this were a few, but not the least absolute worst outcomes.
Can infected HR system actually bring down the entire company?
Yes, absolutely yes. And this is something organizations underestimate constantly, which we have been enforcing from Seqrite Labs in our multiple research papers. So here's the reality. Most companies think cybersecurity is an IT problem. They lock down data center, they secure servers, they focus on IT infrastructure, but they leave departments like HR, accounting, facilities, and relatively unprotected because they see or term it as less technical departments. So they connect to identity management systems and cloud applications like Okta, Azure AD, to banking system and to emails. These connections exist for legitimate business reasons because, HR needs to create accounts, manage access, process payments, but in the wrong hands or in the hands of attacker, this become super highways into critical infrastructure, which lead to business continuity collapse and a lot of further bad events.
Would a regular antivirus have caught this? Sangamesh.
Certainly not, Farooq. If you look at antivirus, traditionally it has been focusing in terms of signature-based detection, whereas Operation DupeHike, it has involved lot of evasion techniques and also deceiving the people, looking like a benign file, right? So this requires advanced technologies like ML-based algorithms to understand the behavioral aspect of any file execution in the systems. In this case, it has actually executed yes, command and control communications and also tried to do a network fingerprinting. So traditional antivirus doesn't help in this kind of a situation. We need to have advanced technologies like behavioral based detection, behavioral based anomaly detection, the technologies like EDR, XDR, and also continuous monitoring of any kind of suspicious communications going outside the corporate network. It is very important for the organization to look at any such anomaly and also correlate with the threat intelligence so as to get a visibility of any anomalous behavior in their network.
How is a long-term targeted attack like this different from normal phishing or malware? Subhajeet.
So attacks like this are bound by a sort of fundamentals which are bound by again something known as time. So normal attacks like small spray and pray such as normal phishing and deploying malware are very performed by underskilled threat actors which are for short period of time. But attacks like this, which we are seeing in Operation DupeHike, are long and coordinated and with calculated precision. And precision is what actually makes attacks like this and normal phishing attacks different and more dangerous. So in attacks like this, such as Operation DupeHike, the threat actor needs to perform a lot of research, such as researching the victim, the set of organizations they're targeting, the creating customer or custom lures, or stealing or doing dumping from the internet to steal and create and mimic this sort of lures, building custom tools, which we have seen, such as Dupe Runner, and then selecting certain C2s or building their own set of tools to deploy, which can deploy on the victim network and which can give access to the threat actor. So definitely attacks like this are more coordinated than a normal phishing attack, and precision is what makes it different.
What do you think the attackers wanted? Money, access, or information? Subhajeet.
So I would like to say the attackers actually wanted all of these three, but I would like to adjust this into three parts is or three phases. I would like to say the first is intelligence or information, immediate intelligence and access, that is personal data, corporate structure, and the idea of who is what and who is given certain privileges and system accesses at the end. On the phase 2, the attacker targeted network exploitation and escalation. Critical systems gather credentials which can be later used to deploy ransomware or maybe used for further attacks. And the real attack is basically the immediate one, which was stolen from the victim's machine, and the entire data was sold into deep or dark web or put out there for other purposes. So in layman terms, the attackers wanted all of the three: money, access, and information.
Do you think such silent attacks happen between countries and group every day, Subhajeet?
Absolutely, yes. And we probably see a very small fraction of them. Like, thinking it from a very small scale or a larger scale perspective, we uncovered Operation DupeHike because there was a malicious file which made it to the public sandbox. That is virus total. But how many of these sophisticated attacks make it to the public platforms? Because how many of these targeted attacks do really make it up to such public sandboxes? And we really have no idea that how many compromised organizations do hardly report their breaches or do hardly upload these malicious implants onto public sandboxes, and how many attacks are only discovered by chance. So for every Operation DupeHike, we find there are similar and more lethal and dozens of similar operations happening globally and in parallel, which we are right now not aware of. And the scale of global APT activity is hundred of APT groups, contractors operating worldwide right now while we speak, such as state-sponsored activities, regional threat actors whose only focus is creating noise, chaos, and performing distributed denial of service attacks, such as hacktivist groups, financially motivated groups whose only target is to perform credential harvesting and rather selling all those information to on the web, and lot of other small yet motivated set of individuals who are supporting this set of hacktivists, APTs, and lot of unique collaborations in terms of criminology. So they are just taking turns and they're operating simultaneously.
What is the number one lesson global CIOs should learn from Operation DupeHike? Sangamesh.
So, Farooq, if you look at CIOs are primarily investing their or channelizing their investments towards the technology. They should now be focusing more, moving beyond purely technical defenses and prioritize the human-centric security resilience. So, we all know that like a human is the weakest link in when we take cybersecurity, because we had seen a lot of social engineering attacks, shoulder surfing, voice phishing or whatsoever, right? So, human has become more vulnerable and weakest link. With respect to the Operation DupeHike, it succeeded because it was a masterful exercise in social engineering, exploiting the most vulnerable part of the organization, the employees, especially the non-technical people who are part of the human resources or payroll departments. And it is not actually the servers which is having the intellectual property that has been guarded with all possible technologies. So CIOs now should focus in terms of creating the security awareness, creating phishing awareness, and general phishing awareness is not enough. They have to custom tailor the messages with respect to the target audience, target departments in terms of how they will be phished, what kind of lucrative and deceiving phishing emails that would be targeted towards their department. So the CIOs now has to focus in terms of creating a security culture in the organization, and that should be, from my point of view, would be the number one lesson as an outcome of Operation DupeHike.
Which internal teams are now the easiest to attack but most ignored? Sangamesh.
So if you look at in the organization, while there are multiple departments, from my perspective, human resources, payroll team, finance, legal and admin teams are the easiest targets for any adversaries.
What are the three tools should every company adapt in 2025 and 2026 if they want to prevent such attacks? Sangamesh.
So, with the growing, threat landscape, which is completely dynamic and evolving, adopting the advanced mechanisms, um, I must say, top three should be in terms of investing on the threat management technologies like XDR, EDR, SIM, so kind of a technologies. The second one on identity protection, because most of the attacks are primarily being focused in terms of compromising the identity. So the second technology that the organization should be investing on is identity protection. And third and last but not the least is in terms of creating security awareness. So there needs to be a continuous awareness for the employees, probably in terms of sending periodic mailers, conducting the quizzes, conducting trainings, gamifying the entire security do's and don'ts. And most important thing is in terms of simulating a phishing campaign internally to assess the level of awareness within the organization.
Has hybrid work made these attacks easier, Sangamesh?
Yes, of course, Farooq, especially with the hybrid work model, which blends the working from corporate within the perimeter and also working remotely, either from home or public internet connections, public Wi-Fi, cafe, whatsoever, right? So that has actually created a complex and a significantly larger attack surface than either your traditional office model or a fully remote work from home option. So this has increased the risk coming from constant switching between the unsecure network to the secured network. So it also becoming a continuous security challenge because IT teams must constantly secure the enterprise across these dynamic, untrusted networks while ensuring the consistent, productive, and providing a better user experience for the IT infrastructure. So this expansion introduces the new entry points for the attackers across three main categories: the network, the device, and the human. So, of course, hybrid work made the attacks easier and the adversaries, or rather like the attack surface has got increased.
Did this research help other companies once you published it? Sangamesh.
Absolutely, yes, Farooq. Our deep research with respect to this uncovering Operation DupeHike has given the visibility of different tactics and techniques used in such kind of a campaign, which is very advanced, sophisticated, and specifically crafted towards certain set of individuals in the organization, and also in terms of specific country focused, right, that have been used by the adversaries. These files are very lucrative and deceiving, which made the users to believe that it is actually a benign file, and they trusted on that, and that was the success criteria of this Operation DupeHike to get the initial compromise done. Many companies have blocked the attack after using the what we shared as a indicator of compromise and indicator of attack.
Which Seqrite solution would protect a company from an attack like this? Sangamesh.
Farooq, Seqrite is an extended arm of Quick Heal Technologies, which has been in the country for more than 3 decades, focusing on the threat management. And we are the first to be a listed cybersecurity organization in the country. Seqrite has been focused on enterprise products, and we have the products across the spectrum for the threat management, especially with respect to the Operation DupeHike. We are having the detection capability and the signatures available across all our Seqrite and Quick Heal products, notably with Seqrite XDR, which is powered by SIA, which is a security co-pilot, detects and respond to such kind of an attack. Seqrite XDR is also powered with the machine learning models and artificial intelligence so as to detect such kind of a behavior-based anomaly detection. We also have Seqrite Threat Intelligence, which provides the threat intelligence feeds to our customers, which are global in nature. And the outcome of our research, as like Operation DupeHike, the intelligence is first cascaded as part of our Seqrite Threat Intelligence, be it in terms of indicator of compromise, indicator of attack, indicator of behavior, indicator of exposure, and indicator of intent. So putting these thing attributes together, we create an intelligence fabric and provide that as a thorough research on this particular campaign as part of our Seqrite Threat Intelligence. We also have the other products like Seqrite EDR or ZTNA for that matter to restrict the access, of unauthorized individuals getting into the organization network. And finally, for the cybersecurity awareness, we have Quick Kill Academy, which primarily focuses on custom-tailored security awareness program based on the target audience and the target departments, which will cover in terms of the do's and don'ts from a cybersecurity perspective, and also in terms of the evolving and ever-changing cyber threats and what and how they need to be dealt with.
Great. So if the viewers from India, GCC and UAE countries wanted to have a proof of concept for your products, would you be able to do it?
Yes, Farooq. We have been engaged with the global prospects and the customers, and we are more than happy to participate in a POC for them, demonstrating the efficiency of our products, especially for in the Middle East and GCC. We are getting a lot of traction, and obviously, they can reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to get them engaged and execute a POC with them on all our Seqrite products.
What makes Seqrite's research team stand out and compared to global cybersecurity vendors? Sangamesh.
So Farooq, as I said, we are a 30 years plus organization focusing only on the threat research and the threat management, and understanding the threats is of course in our DNA. And with the 3 decades of experience, Seqrite, which is an enterprise arm of Quick Kill Technologies, has the largest malware lab in the country. We are the pioneer and the market leader in the country in the cybersecurity space. And we hold 9 patents for threat detection, and also we have our presence across 76 countries. This is unique to us, and which is a key differentiator as against other vendors. In the threat detection and the protection technologies, we have a strong in-house research team, and we also do the research with a multi-dimensional aspect. It could be in terms of the sector-wise or country-based specific threats, or even in terms of uncovering some of the unknown threat actors who are emerging and evolving. We actually have the research team working in terms of proactively uncovering, hunting for those kind of threats and the research adversaries, and we get those intelligence cascaded as part of the protection technology, detection technology and protection technology, and also in terms of providing that as a threat intelligence feeds to our customers. This is something unique where we bring the research and also helping our customers to protect from these cyber threats.
What is the biggest mistake CEOs still make about cybersecurity? Sangamesh.
So Farooq, CEOs, they think that it's only an IT problem, not a business survival issue. That's the biggest mistake CEOs make.
Based on everything you saw in Operation DupeHike, what is the one sentence every CEO in the world should remember?
The next big breach will start with one simple file that an employee finds that it is safe to open.
Awesome. Sangamesh, Subhajeet, thank you to both of you. And my thanks to Sanjay Katkar, founder and MD of Quick Kill, with whom I had a direct discussion that helped align the teams for this conversation.
Thank you for giving us an opportunity.
Thank you, Farooq. We're glad to be here and thank you for the opportunity once again.
Thank you very much. Operation DupeHike reminds us that most dangerous cyber risks don't break system. They quietly enter through trust. I am Farooq Khan. This is Podcast 101 with Farooq Khan. Stay aware because the next breach will start with a file that looks harmless. Thank you.